for April 25th, 2025 special call meeting. Welcome everybody here today and anybody that's online also. First item today would be the county administrator items.
Yes, sir. The first item that we have is a request that we've received from the school division for transfer of funds from the 6,100 instruction line item to 6,800 technology in the amount of $50,000.
All right.
Moving from one category to another. Okay.
Yeah. Way it looks like they're transferring from the instruction category to the technology category.
That's correct.
Dr. Leslie, you have any comments?
Yes, so good evening. Yes, we're requesting a transfer from the instruction category to the technology category in order to cover payroll expenses for 3 employees. Okay. I did do some research. There has been an issue since back from July of 2024 where the accounts were not reconciled correctly. And so there was a deficit in the technology account that was not reconciled or was not recognized. And so when they went to run payroll and payroll went to hit, there was inadequate funds in the technology account. I can answer more questions or give more information if you like.
July of 24.
Did this same thing happen a couple of months back?
In my understanding, yes, but it was different accounts. I was not.
It was payroll.
It was payroll, yes, sir. I was not part of the conversation, but I understand there were several categories, including the federal cares, some federal funds, and a special allocations account that they were drawing down using payroll expenses, thinking that they would reimburse them when reimbursements came in from the federal government or the special allocations, but they hadn't bounced those accounts, so they were drawing negative. So yes. This is a different situation insofar as there was money placed in the technology account. However, there were invoices submitted in July of 2024 that the school was accounting for those invoices to be paid out of the 23-24 budget, but they were submitted in July. And so they were held against the 24-25 budget. So essentially there was $885,000 worth of invoices that were submitted in July, and they were held against the new budget. The school was looking at them as being held against the previous year's budget. And so there's an $880,000 offset. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but that should have left a surplus of $885,000 from the previous year's budget, correct?
In theory, that would be correct, but there was overspending of the 23-24 budget. I have a copy of the June statement of accounts. It's not called the statement, but the expenditure accounts, and it was overdrawn at that time, even prior to submitting the $880,000.
Could you give us just a play-by-play of events that happened this week that got us to where we are tonight?
Sure. So I got a call late on Wednesday that the ladies who do the payroll had tried to submit payroll. Payroll comes out of different categories based on where that person is paid. So when they went to do it, it kicked back that it would have caused a negative value in the technology line. And so we had to investigate why that would happen. So we did come over and meet with the county administrator and some folks from the treasurer's office to try to understand why that number was negative. That's how we discovered that $880,000 worth of invoices. County had it in the 24-25. We had it in the 23-24. Clearly, it wasn't adequately reconciled so that we knew exactly what was in our account. And so essentially that is what happened. So, what we did was, we backed out there were just 3 individuals that we had to back out of technology because there was enough to pay at least one so that we could run the payroll for the rest of the division. And then, the solution would be to have to try to move money from the instruction to technology in order to cover that. And of course, for that, we needed to have school board approval, which we were able to get last evening with a specially called meeting. And then to come and request that we be able to transfer those funds over in order to cover that expense.
And it's my understanding that there are 4 people that are paid out of the technology.
There are 4 that are paid from the technology, but there was about $11,000 in that account. So I had enough to pay at least one. So I did.
So the other 3 are waiting this transfer.
They are
Tonight.
waiting for the transfer. Yes, sir. As a side note, I do have, if we're able to get it approved, I do have checks ready for them outside in the parking lot. So that, we can make sure that we get a check in our employees' hands as soon as possible.
Questions from any of board members?
I just find it interesting that this $800,000, for lack of a better term, is played with. So obviously the 23 budget was overspent. So, okay, so let's not show that it was overspent for 800,000. Let's carry these invoices over for $800,000 to next year's. At the end of that year, we'll try to make it up again. So it's like a shell game.
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my understanding is that it was the intention for them to go on 23, 24, but of course, that's how it did end up in the accounts.
And your financial director knew about this quite a few months ago.
So my understanding is that the regular director of finance, based on some emails that I'm seeing, was aware that that amount was not reconciling. I do not know if there was a plan in place to deal with the fact that it was not reconciled, because that person is not here at the moment. The interim finance director was not aware that that had happened.
But that person was aware of the shortage of funds in the account.
So we did receive copies of the statements of accounts that showed that it was under that amount. Yes, sir.
And yet that person waited to the last minute to say anything. I'm not blaming you because you've been thrown into this and you've been thrown up here tonight in front of us. Because neither school board member has showed up. Not your financial director or anybody has showed up. They're letting you get all the blame. And that's not right. They should be here to answer questions.
Yes, sir. I understand.
This is just poor accountability. There is no accounting in that office one bit. I don't think they know where their last dollar was spent the last minute ago. And I see instruction has dropped in one day, way over $1 million.
That would be from the payroll that they put through.
Okay.
So the amount for payroll from the instruction line is in excess of $1 million
Yes.
each month. So that would be
Mhm.
what we would anticipate to see. The other lines deduct as well, but those amounts are far lower. So if it deducts from operations, for example, or technology, those payouts, we have fewer people who receive their payout from those account lines.
Well, I don't want to see anybody not get paid, but the board's standing on checks that are going to be written in the red is a flat no on any account.
I understand.
Because this has gone on much too long and it's finally being corrected. And I'll say the treasurer did her job this time to stop it. So this has to keep on. But the reconciling of accounts is not done monthly, probably not even done quarterly.
So my understanding is that it had not been done monthly. I will say that we now have a plan in place that I've met with the interim finance director today. We will be going by the county funds. We will be reconciling them weekly and prior to any payments being requested, be that payroll, invoices, anything.
When the payroll goes in, Ms. Leslie, when does it hit? So should the ones that got paid, should it already be in their account?
It should be, yeah.
Okay, because I've gotten information that, few individuals, theirs is still pending, but they're not any, that don't have anything to do with the ones that didn't
Gotcha.
receive a check.
So it is, I don't know enough about the bank and how their timing works.
Okay,
But the ladies did attempt to put the payroll in on Wednesday evening. That was when they discovered there was an error. If there's a single error in that payroll, we can't do any of it.
okay,
And so that was already well into 5 p.m. Or after 4 or something by the time I got wind of it. So there really wasn't anything we could do until the following day. So the first thing we wanted to do was to see if we could get it remedied right away so that we could submit the entire payroll. As Mr. Haney said, that was not an option for us. So the next fastest thing we could do was to back out anything that would cause an overage and to go ahead and make sure that everybody else got their payment. So that did go through on Thursday, and Mary might know better than me, Thursday afternoon, I believe. But
That may be a bank issue.
Typically, it would have gone in Wednesday,
Right.
Wednesday evening.
So the transfer amount that we're doing, that's enough to cover the 4 employees in the technology department for the remainder of the fiscal year? Is that
It
correct?
is not. So thank you for asking that question. So the short that we have to cover payroll only in that account line is $22,388.69. We requested the 50 because certainly there are also invoices that are coming in that are going to be slated to hit the technology account. What I did is I went through all of the accounts that we got from the county administrator as they had printed out our balances for us so that we knew exactly what was there. And then so I've gone through and done some rough estimates of what it will look like for the rest of the fiscal year. And so, no, Mr. Williams, we're going to be having to request to make several transfers between categories in order to make sure that we balance out for the rest of the year. I would, just by eyeballing it, there will be at least 5 or 6 requests that we will need to make to move money between those accounts to make sure that we're solvent.
All the money coming out of the instruction category?
I couldn't hear you, sir. I'm sorry.
All the money coming out of the instruction category?
No, as a matter of fact, that is going to be a place that eventually we will have to move money into to continue the payrolls and the general expenses. Please know that I did ballpark figures based on the reports that I could find. But I did estimate, our payrolls for the next 2 months. There's an additional payroll at the end of June for 10.5-month and 11-month employees that I had to add in. And then I tried to look at just the average number of expenditures that we have each month, use that as a ballpark to try to figure out about how much we were going to pay out over the next 2 months compared to what was in those categories. And so the interim director of finance and myself, we have a lot of work to do to get that clarified and to get transfers together. The reason for coming this evening was really to make sure that we were able to get our employees paid expediently, that we had enough that we didn't have to come back next week to say we have an invoice that we have to pay, but to buy us enough time to be able to go through and analyze these accounts, to be able to come back and tell you what it is that we're looking at. Like I said, I have some rough estimates here. I don't have access to all of this stuff to give you exact numbers, but like I said, there's going to be a lot of requesting to move money back around.
What don't you have access to?
So I'm not trained on the accounting system because
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't work in finance. I have a login, but I'm not trained to go in there. I don't do those kinds of things. So what I will often do is have them run me reports from the system and I will work with them that way. So what I will need to do is I'll need to get some reports out of the system. I'm going to need to go ahead and meet with the directors in different areas and find out if there's a big bill that's coming in that you're aware of, something like that, because that's going to offset my numbers. And I don't want to throw a number out there and have a director say, no, we always pay, X amount of dollars at the end of the year, which I wouldn't be aware of.
But you are getting what you asked for, me.
I'm sorry.
You are getting what you asked for.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay.
Is there any reason to believe that expenditures for May and June in the instruction category would be drastically higher than?
No. Mm-mm. That's why I when I calculated them out, that's what I did is I used the average that we pay out in a specific month as a ballpark to kind of get an idea of where we would be. The only caveat, as I stated, is going to be there is a second payroll run in June that pays out the 10.5 month and the 11-month employees because they are paid out of the previous year's budget, whereas your 12-month employees would be paid out of the new year's budget, which was something I didn't know because I didn't work in payroll. But that would alter it, and it will alter it to the tune of about $100,000 for that one added payroll in there. So
I guess the basis for that question was this.
and I
You can safely say that what the expenditures were going to be in instruction for the next coming months. Shouldn't someone in the finance department have known what they were going to be last month before we got to the point that they came to the treasurer asking her to cut checks? In a
they're
fund that didn't
very,
have the money?
yes, they are pretty consistent month to month. And I did misspeak, by the way, that June payout is actually 901,000, not 90,000. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess the biggest question is, you're gonna have enough money to cover everything for this year? Without going into the red.
Again, I wish that I could give you a direct answer. I've not been able to meet with all of the directors. Based on the projections that I put together, I would say no.
I would much rather for you to research it and come back with something more solid than just to be able to take a guess.
It is really going to take me a lot of time to dig into it and do it right. I just didn't have that time. Like I said, it is going to take me, getting numbers from the system, getting back numbers from the county of what we have spent historically and trying to base my numbers on those, as well as, like I said, finding out if there are any big bills that are coming at us that are anomalous, meaning just, something we didn't actually account for, we didn't know was coming. So I would say I would need, at least a week, because I also have to get the budget out the door.
Our next board meeting,
That's fine. And that would give us time to prepare.
Well, what we would be able to do, then hopefully would be able to, put something together and then request from our board, what we wanted to move around and what it looked like too, so that we could give you a more definitive answer. If we could kind of do it all together.
it does look like some more of your board would have the responsibility to come to these meetings to say something besides just Mr. Kearns. Not your fault, it's their fault. And they claim they care about the kids, sure don't act like it. It's not very good. Well, gentlemen, I'm gonna make a motion to approve this request because I want to see those people get paid. It's not Dr. Leslie's fault one bit. It goes back to the school board, goes back to the ones in the county. None of them are doing their job. And this must be corrected. The people need to, the people in the county need to start raising the devil over this stuff. It's just uncalled for anything. If this was in the corporate world out here, every one of them would have been fired a long time ago. You don't do things like this in corporate business. You may mess up one time and get by with it with a little talking to, the second time you're gone. It's just no sense in this. But my motion is to approve the $50,000 request. Got a motion second? Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, Dr. Leslie, I thank you for coming, and I'm not fussing at you because you've been thrown out of the frying pan directly into the fire. No one has come here to back you up except for Mr. Kearns.
Dr. Leslie, I want to second that. I know the people in my district of Northumberland County appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your professionalism. I enjoy talking to you and working with you like this. It's a good thing for all of us. And I just want to say, we agree that this is none of your doings by no means, but we thank you so much for standing here and helping us out. Appreciate it. Want you to know we appreciate it.
I got one thing. For years, we had a Donna Booth that worked in the school system. She is retired. So as we talk about Miss Booth, we need to make sure that the public is not looking back at Donna Booth. Because it's been some confusion.
Okay.
And we need to make sure that we, as both groups, the Board of Supervisors and the school system, make sure that we correct that. Because Donna Booth has been retired for a few years now. And I don't want her catching any heat on what's going on. And she's actually received some phone calls and stuff. And so I just want to make sure when we reference to Miss Booth, it's not Donna Booth. Donna Booth is retired. She worked for the school system, I think, for 33 years and done an awesome job.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing, could you get for us? Salaries. Salaries of teachers. I mean, it's, I guess you want to call it stipends or other salaries that they're getting. What kind of pay scale it is? Could you get that to us?
Sure. You want current salaries?
Current salaries?
Sure.
From top to bottom.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I have that.
All the salaries they're getting paid and why?
Sure. Yes. Yep. It will, so the main salaries will come in a separate document from the supplemental salaries, just because that's how we equate them. But I can put them in a batch and sort them, so you'll see who's getting what.
So we can see a figure on how much money is being spent.
I can do that
Thank you, ma'am. You have a good weekend.
too. I am gonna head out so we can get those.
Yes, please make sure you get those folks taken care of.
Yeah,
All right, Mr. Tadlock.
yeah, I guess just for clarification, we've got to get the transfer completed first before the treasurer's office can finalize that process.
Yeah, well,
Um,
we made a motion to approve it.
Yeah, and Mary's working on the transfer.
Take care of that. Thank you, Mary, for what you're doing. Thank you for coming over here today.
All right,
Anything else you need on that?
not on that, no, sir.
We did.
Ready for the next item or?
Help yourself.
All right. I don't know if the board has gotten a chance to look at the fiscal year 26 budget. But the jail board has approved the fiscal year 26 budget in the total amount of $13,846,630. Again, there's no cost to the
Okay.
localities.
What was that figure again?
$13,846,630. And in your packet, you do have the budget narrative along with the expenditure and revenue request.
Gentlemen, you all had a chance to look that over a little bit. Any comments, questions about it? One thing about it, there are, one thing about it, there are no funds required from Northumberland County. We get to put anybody sheriff's department gets to put everyone they pick up there in Warsaw, and it doesn't cost us anything. This is all being actually paid by federal dollars, federal prisons. So it does help us out quite a bit. I think if you look at Gloucester there, since Gloucester's a new guy in town, they're paying almost $685,000. So it's a big savings to us. Gentlemen, if there are no other questions or anything, I'll make a motion to approve. Got a motion to second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Tadlock, that motion passes, sir.
All right, thank you. Last item that I have is the sheriff had requested back in February the board to surplus several vehicles. One of those vehicles had the incorrect date and VIN number, and he is asking for that to be amended and corrected so that the February 13th, 2025 would remove the 2017 Ford Interceptor and replace it with the 2019 Ford Interceptor, ending with VIN number 9164.
I make a motion to make the correction so we can surplus the vehicle.
I'll second it.
All right, we got a motion to second. Got any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, tell Mr. Beecham he's all straight.
All right. Thanks, sir.
What else you have, Mr. Tadlock?
That's all I have.
Board members have any comments?
I got one thing.
Yep.
Dr. Kern, is it okay if I ask him a question?
Help yourself.
And you don't mind me asking you a question?
No, I'm sorry I'm late, gentlemen. There was an accident on the bridge. I had to go all the way around.
Yeah, we heard you got sidetracked.
Well, I would have been here on time. I apologize.
I've probably received a big 25, 30 phone calls today. So I'm probably getting a bit in rare form. The last meeting, I know this board cannot demand or make orders to the school board, but it was a request that the superintendent and the finance director be put on leave, they pay. Is any steps, or can you share any information of any steps been taken for that to happen?
I have not received any information from any board member concerning the school board's request to approve that motion based on the attorney. I will say that I sent an email today requesting such information. As of yet, I have not heard back.
I find it a little disappointing that you have apparently got individuals that weren't doing the job well. And again, today and I guess what gets me even worse, we have individuals that did not get paid. But yet you got people that's caused these problems. I guarantee you they got a check today. And they'll get one next month. And some of the shortage that you're gonna need at the end of the year to pay some of this stuff off, it could be a part of their salaries if they get put on leave and they pay. And I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I'm having a hard time swallowing this pill because it's not right. People need to get paid. That school budget is taxpayer money. It needs to be balanced out. It needs to be reconciled. And this has not just happened in the last couple of months, folks. This has been going on since I've been on the board of supervisors.
Well, if I may say, Mr. Brand.
Been going on since longer than we've been on the board.
And you know, if it hadn't been for a group of citizens standing up and speaking, it still would be more. And I want the kids taken care of and I want the teachers taken care of. And I think everybody sitting at this table feels the same way.
Well, I'm gonna say this. And this is not an excuse. I found out about this 2 days ago on Wednesday. But I will say this, I went back and apologized on behalf of the school board to each one of those people and took responsibility for it. I just wanted to go on the record.
Well, the girls in the finance department knew about it much longer than that. They've known about it for months. And yet they keep sitting on it. And yet the school board, not talking about you this time, keeps covering for them. They keep covering all the time and they keep blaming this board for all of their actions that they mess up on. Not our fault. They don't know how to manage money.
I think it goes back to John's comment to the board, comes back to responsibility and trust.
Yep.
I've said that now twice in front of this board, and I really believe that. Trust is something very difficult to gain back once it's lost.
And I thank you for stepping up to the plate, trying to get the trust back. And trying to be open with us. Don't have it with anybody else. The emails we get and the other messages we get, the comments are always putting this board down. We do nothing right, is what we keep hearing. It's not our fault. Not our fault the money is not spent correctly. It's not our fault that they end every program that does not benefit the education of the kids. Your student to teacher ratio is a 9-to-1. And yet your grade scores are steadily declining, and your answer is to keep dumping money in. That does not work. It needs to be changed. You need to lose some people, increase your student to teacher ratio, and let's cut this budget back. Because the taxpayer is the one that's feeling the burden, and the students are the ones that are not getting an education.
Now, is some students didn't have a teacher at all.
What was that, Mr. Lawson?
Some students didn't have a teacher at all during the year.
So he's sitting in the classroom by himself?
No, they had working on computer. Right.
Virtual.
Right, so.
Well, You never hear a report or anything going on in there. You never know nothing. They're so tight-lipped, they don't even want you to know what they're spending there.
Well, that was out in the.
And that's not so. It's taxpayers' dollars that they're spending. And everybody has a right to know what they're spending it on, where it's going, and those accounts need to be opened up to the public.
If people think we can tell them how to spend the money, we can't tell them how to spend the money.
No, we can't tell them. We give them money to be spent. We put it in categories because they don't know how to spend it. And then they switch it back and forth from category to category without letting us know.
Well, you got 3 people in the school board office right now that have been put in bad situations. That's the 2 finance ladies and the acting superintendent.
Yeah.
I will say, every motion that I make, I always ask myself one question. And only one question, is this in the best interest of the children?
That's what it should be.
And whether it's taxes or communication or lack of communication, when I make a motion, that's the question I ask myself. And if I can't say it is, then I'm not gonna make a motion. And I only started making motions 6 weeks ago. Because I needed to have a full grasp of what's going on. The lack of communication, I feel like, is going on.
Mhm.
And I'll probably get sanctioned for coming up here and talking because I'm talking as a school board member.
Well, I put you on the spot, so tell them blame me too.
Yep, you can also talk as a citizen. And if you can't say what you want just because you're a school board member, there's a big problem there. Any of us can say what we want. You can too.
I appreciate that support.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes I say too much, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I gotta bring that roll of duct tape for you.
Well, it's been like it for,
Thank you, Dr.
been
Kern.
like it for 60 years. It won't change now.
All right. All right, since we have a few people here, would anyone else want to speak? Come on up and speak. We're gonna allow some public comment period tonight. I want to hear what the public has to say.
Then Stuart Lutzberg. My problem with all of this is that last year you gave them the money that they wanted, mostly, and said, how do you want to spend it? You put it in categories. It's up to you to determine where this money's going to go. And I don't want to hear that this is a problem for the Board of Supervisors, because it isn't. They compromised. You gave them, in effect, almost their entire budget, and it was up to them to manage that money to the budget, and they didn't. And I hope no one in the community comes out and says, this is all the Board of Supervisors' problem, because it is not. Thank you.
Ms. Stewart, let me interrupt you for a second.
Excuse me?
It's already out here right now that this is the Board of Supervisors' problem, this problem right here.
Well,
The
and,
public
and
has
it
already
always,
been
it
told
always,
that because they've been told that by the school board and all.
it always is the Board of Supervisors' fault, and that's why I made my statement. The ins and outs, the ups and downs, the, $89.34 is not my wheelhouse. But conceptually, it's always your fault. And I felt the need to make a statement that you specifically worded your motion to make sure that salaries and benefits for the teachers and the staff were covered.
That's correct.
That's the way the motion was worded. This is not your fault. Not that you thought it was, but for anyone out there that thinks that it might be, it is not. Thank you.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Stewart is certainly correct. We made the motion to approve enough money for all teachers and all employees' salaries with their raises, with their medical benefits. That money was put in there in another lump sum,
Separate.
and it was there. Where it's gone, I don't know. It's been spent somewhere.
We asked them how much they needed and we actually gave them a little bit more.
They got $82,000 extra funding in that account for salaries and all to be spent. And they spent that somewhere else too. Yes, ma'am.
Karen Pika, Mr. Fisher's district. So I've just done some math on the back envelope and no, my handwriting is not the best. We have a serious problem, gentlemen, with this budget. According to the documentation provided at the school board meeting 2 weeks ago, there was $102,000 in the technology account to cover salary and benefits. If you look at the April 14th documents provided to the school board from the finance director, there was $77,000 for personnel, which is salary, and 23 some odd thousand in benefits. So I'm appalled. We have been told at every school board meeting for this year, at every board of supervisors meeting, that the school was reconciling with the county. In the world I live in, reconcile does not mean you agree to your number and I agree to mine. It means they match. It is impossible to have $77,000 in a salary account 2 weeks ago and have it all disappear. So I applaud Dr. Leslie for coming forward and saying, whoops, there was a problem. The county's records showed what? How much was it? $860,000. We now have a hole of $860,000 in the school's budget. The administration last year, the superintendent last year, plussed up the administration category by $35,000, but cut the tags program. Get that $35,000 back to pay for these folks that are working that aren't getting paid. We've got $50,000, what was it, $53,000 that we just had to pay for taxes. $254,000 that we're going to have to reimburse somebody for the special education. You're looking at a hole of 1.2 million without even considering what needs to be moved or changed for payroll. Our auditor told us that our reserves are down to what, 3 million? The county audit report showed the reserves were down to what?
The last one was 7 million.
Okay, 7 million. You're going to have to dig for 1.2 million to cover what we already know is missing based on that 860,000. Next year, are we going to have to pay back money for the special education? What are we going to have to pay back? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the budget because the school budget isn't here yet. We're going to have budget hearings. But I got to tell you, much like last year when y'all stood up here and defended the citizens against a huge tax increase, I don't know what you're going to do this year because if you're already 1.2 million, we're what, almost May 1st. We still have 2 months left in this fiscal year. And we have a $1.2 million hole in this year's school budget, right? All because of math. It is simple math. You do not need a PhD in accounting to understand that you have to accrue bills in the year in which they're paid. Payroll is different. So we were told every month that the budget's reconciled. We were given documents every month at school board meetings. April 14th, look it up. If you don't have it, I'm happy to send it. And I am also more than happy to volunteer to help Dr. Leslie. I do not know if legally I'm allowed to volunteer to help her crunch numbers, but I'm more than happy to do it. I'm going to make the offer to her because I don't understand how we can't do what I call simple math.
All right, anyone else like to speak? Anyone else like to speak? We have anybody online tonight that would like to speak? How many online, Cole? How many? 72?
That's amazing.
72 people online tonight. So people are upset over this mess. Anyone online like to speak on this yet, on any issue tonight? All right, bring them on.
Mr. Haney,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Tina Withers from the school board office. I wasn't able to be there because I was still over in the office trying to get some vendor payments processed today. But I do want you to know I am trying to work with Dr. Leslie. Shannon and I, our names keep getting thrown out there. All of this was just dumped onto us. We're sitting here trying to do the best we can, and it's upsetting because we weren't even aware of some of these numbers. It's being misconceived as if we do work in that building, but that does not mean that her or I knew Tara Booth, not Donna Booth. Tara Booth did not share this type of information with Shannon and I, who are over there currently now trying to deal with this stuff since February. And I just want to make that clear that it's just as shocking to us. Yeah, we are in the same building, but the communication, she did not share these type of finance, the reconciliations and stuff like that. That stuff was not shared with us. So I just want y'all to know that we are working with Dr. Leslie, trying to figure out this. And when we took that payroll over there, we were just as surprised. So I just want to make that statement.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, thank you for your comments. Thank you for some clarification. But I'll tell you what, I would still like to see you come here and tell us that it's not your fault when these issues come up. So just to try to keep your name clear. So
Okay.
you be pulled down with the rest of the stuff going on.
All right. I don't mind coming to the meeting at all. We had something that had to be uploaded by 5 p.m. this afternoon, and I left the school board office at 5 o'clock. And was hoping that I'd get home in enough time to be able to let you know, that was the reason I was not there. I was working on something that had to be, submitted, and it had to be done by 5 o'clock this afternoon. So.
Well, I thank you for that.
Okay. Well, you're welcome. I just want you to know Shannon and I are really feeling beat up by this, and we are. We want to get everything straight, and we're doing our best. But like I said, this is some of the stuff was not shared with us. We're seeing it just like you all are. We are, our positions were to process the invoices, accounts payable, and payroll. And we process it. We would take that information over to Tara Booth, the director of finance, and she would submit the transmittals that went to the treasurer's office. So I'm just trying to clarify some things for my name and hers.
All right, well, I appreciate that very much.
Can I ask Ms. Withers a question?
Yes.
Ms. Withers, are you still there?
Yes.
Is there any way that that you or anyone else in the finance department would have known that those checks were not going to clear before you went to the treasurer's office that day?
Well, all right, wait a minute. We did not know. When we took them over there, that's when the numbers from the county reports, that's where we started, that's where it all, I can't talk, I'm so upset right now. The county's reports and the school's reports that's where we noticed the differences. And it was the July expenses that were accrued back. The school that had accrued them back, but they were showing in the fiscal year of 24-25 on the county side. So that's where that $800,000 number is coming from. So no, we were just like in shock when we took the payroll over.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
District. I have a few questions. I read in the paper that the state police are investigating this issue. What should we expect as the public? Is that going to look like? What are they going to be looking at? And number two, if you are asking for receipts from the school board and from the school, could I suggest you also look at what credit cards have been issued and to who?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And the third thing is, I just don't know who hires the people and who has the power to fire the people that you suspect are responsible for this accounting problem.
Ms. Coldrip, you gotta remember one thing. School and the county are two separate things. It's just like you and myself. I can give you $100, but I can't tell you where to spend it. Or you could give me 100 and you can't tell me where to spend it. I may tell you that I want to buy a certain item, but you can't make me do that. The school has the responsibility to spend the taxpayers' dollars wisely. They are the ones that also hire and they can fire any employee in the school system. There's one school board member here. He shows up. I see none of the others. As far as the Virginia State Police, we're not sure what's going to happen yet. We got to have a meeting with them to have some discussion. And then we can kind of determine where we can go. Then we'll have another meeting with both boards. And then we can hopefully finalize this and get our investigation.
So the school board is holding the taxpayers hostage in Northumberland County.
Yes, that's what they're doing.
Well, that's outrageous. And if the board, it's time for the board to get tough. I don't know if there are any answers, other avenues that you can pursue, but this is outrageous. And I was at the meeting when we talked about the teachers' raises and the budget, so on and so forth. And I think it was this lady here that offered to be part of a citizens oversight board.
She did.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful. Well, I think that needs to continue.
Not according to the school board.
Well, but like I said, we're being held hostage by the school board.
What it takes people just like you to come out and voice your opinion.
Well, here we go.
We did form the joint finance committee and we did have several meetings. Yes, ma'am. And we still have that going.
But the school board has since not participated.
Yep, they're not going to participate anymore.
Like they participated in the last. So let's get to facts.
Yeah, they were here and
We
started.
need to make sure we got that.
So let people know that.
Well, maybe it's time for a special election for new school board members.
That's up to you.
You asked about the hiring and firings, and also that's done on their side. They hire their people, they fire their people. We have nothing to do with that.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else online like to speak?
Baby,
Yes?
it's Holly.
Oh, all right. Supervisor.
Hello?
Yes, this is the superintendent. I'm sorry. I mean, my dad died.
Oh. Well, we're very sorry about that. We are very
Me-
sorry about
Me too,
that.
but I've been just all of it. It's a lot. And I have worked so hard in Northumberland to represent y'all. And it's really destroying me. The way you all have handled things, and it's a terrible thing. And I actually care about y'all. And I'm not sure what to do with this, but I will just say that it's a weird situation. I care about you. I've worked hard for you, and I'm not sure how to handle what has just happened because I was trying to take care of my dad for the last 2 months, and I don't know what happened since I was gone, but I will try to catch up, and that's where I am. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what I'm from. I've always lived here. I've always been here. I've always done your best. And it's really concerning that this has happened.
Dr. Walgrove, you made a statement that it's the way we handled it. What were you implying by that?
We can I'm just saying it's really awful the way this has been handled. And I just request for you all to be civil and help me through this.
Well, I'm very sorry about your dad. I think you wrote on FMLA.
I don't
Uh,
think we need to announce that right now.
Well,
And by the way, I'm not on FMLA anymore.
all right.
But again, we don't have to do a public comment about it.
But these problems have been going on for a long time.
Dr. Waldo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Long, I can hear you.
Have you talked to your lawyer?
I cannot comment on that, but what I will say is I just want to do the best thing for Northumberland County. I always have. I always will. I had to go away to take care of my dad. And that's where we are. And he died. My dad actually died on March 29th. And people say my dad didn't die, and he did die. And there are people spreading rumors, and they act like they say they're out to get the superintendent. It's not okay. It's not okay. And I mean, I'm here. I did good things for the county. It's not okay the way I've been treated.
Well, Dr. Wardrow, like we said, we feel very sorry for your loss and we thank you for all you've done. And we're not trying to throw you under the bus or anything. We've never mentioned your name.
You may not have mentioned my name, but you have mentioned my name, is what I would say. And Mr. Haney, I love you, but what the whole situation has done to me has been very damaging. It's very, very damaging. And it's not okay. Whatever you all were looking for and whatever you did was damaging.
All right, thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Anyone else like to speak tonight? Anyone else that's online like to speak?
Yes, I would.
Yes,
Hello?
yes, hello.
Yes, this is Kathy from Heathfield. I had a few questions.
Kathy who?
Kathy Rock.
All right, okay.
I just had a few questions. I'd like to know why are they still receiving paychecks and they're not doing their jobs? And how come any other job, if you don't do it, you get fired? And why do taxpayers, if we're going to be responsible for paying for them not doing their job because our taxes are going to go up, but yet they continue to keep their job and receive a paycheck? I don't think it's fair or right. And a comment, when the state police get involved and do investigations, I sure hope that they do criminal background checks on all the board members, school board members, and that those results get made to public. Of course, it might come out anyway, but so that's all I got to say. I mean, people need to be fired for not doing their job. Plain and simple. There's so many people that are aggravated and mad in this county right now. It's ridiculous. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rock. Anyone else online like to speak tonight?
I would.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is Kelly Stewart from Calio.
Okay.
I was just wasn't sure if you can hear me. I just wanted to say, I think the community understands that you guys, for the county board, has done what you could and did what you were supposed to do. The community in general is very frustrated because we don't get straight answers from the school board ever. And if there's going to be money spent back and forth, it's already been said that reconciliation means everything balances. There has to be a check and balance. And if it comes down to having to hire somebody from outside to come in and do an investigation, then that's what needs to be done. I'm as sorry as I can be if somebody's going through hard times. That doesn't excuse the 2-3 years that it's been a problem. And if we can't get answers from the school board, I'm sorry that you guys have to deal with the public because they won't. I understand that some people have shown up today. That doesn't excuse the last 2-3 years. And people are just so frustrated. I mean, I had to get a call from the school today because they didn't know my kid went to the school and didn't have residency when they've been there for 4 years. There's problems. There's problems in a lot of ways, and we don't know where else to go. People don't know where to get answers, so I appreciate you even taking questions and comments. That's all I've got. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anyone else online like to speak? I can't hear you. We have one more person. One more person. Yeah, bring them on. Anyone online like to speak?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, this is Maurice Johnson. Congratulations, gentlemen. You are the board of last resort. At this point, I have to at least say that it's impossible to avoid the appearance that a crime has been committed. I wouldn't point fingers at anybody because there does seem to be some degree of obfuscation, but I have a hard time swallowing the notion that the problems that we've been having for several years now are all based on accidents. That would be a perfect storm, statistically impossible. So yes, you are the board of last resort, and I I feel bad for Ms. Holly Wargo. She needs to understand that this county wants accountability. That was her responsibility for years, not just the past couple of months. I'm sorry she lost her father, but this county needs accountability. And we counted on her, and she failed. Millions of dollars worth of failure. So thank you for being there for everybody else to listen to us when the school board wouldn't. And for right now, I guess that's about all I have to say.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else online like to speak? $84.
One more.
All right. Get them, come on and speak.
Good evening.
Yes, how you doing?
My name's Andrew Wiley from Reedville.
I didn't get that.
What was your name, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Andrew Wiley from Reedville.
Okay,
There needs to be a line drawn between the two boards. The line has been blurred between who's responsible for what. The county school board and the county board of supervisors are two separate entities. And that line has been blurred, and that has created the confusion that we're dealing with. We as citizens can petition the court to remove these school board members. And maybe that needs to happen. Let me ask you, gentlemen, if there was a rash of crimes in the county and the sheriff's department needed help, what would you do? You would send help to the sheriff's department. Obviously, the financial department and the school board needs help. Maybe you should send them reinforcement. And I want to apologize and send my condolences to Mrs. Wargo or Dr. Wargo on her loss. She was involved in something that was very damaging to my son. This school board has been corrupt for a while. I had a dealing with, they refused to respect the Fifth Amendment, and it compelled my son to answer their questions. And now they sit and refuse to answer citizens' questions. It is beyond wild. I thank you for your time. I'm sorry that you guys are dealing with this. Maybe if you draw the line of distinction between your responsibility and the school board's responsibility, it would clear up some of the confusion for the community. Good, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak that's online tonight? We have over 85 people online tonight. Anyone else online that would like to speak tonight? All right.
I
Come on.
would.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Denise Steele. And I'm just wondering, how did all this happen? That for this many years and nobody was held accountable?
Well, this has gone on for quite a few years and we're trying to hold people accountable now. We're trying to get answers.
Mm-hmm. But why did it take so long for anyone to find this out?
Because the county and the school board are two separate entities.
Right.
And you can only find out the information that the school board is willing to give you.
Okay. I understand that then. All right. And haven't they gone through several financial people in the school?
I think what they have said, it's 5 people. That's
Five people.
according to a school board member.
Since 2022?
In the last last 5 years, they've gone through 5 people.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, that's really what I was wondering about. And I appreciate y'all taking this over and trying to resolve it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else online like to speak? All right. Bring them on. Anyone else online like to speak? Hadn't unmuted the mic. You need to unmute your mic so you can speak. Anyone else want to speak? Have they unmuted the mic yet? No. Anyone else like to speak? You must unmute your mic so you can speak. Nothing? No. Hello? Hello? All right. Well, all right, since no one else wants to speak, we'll close the public hearing. But we've had way over 85 people online tonight. That shows you that people are concerned about the issues going on. And I thank everybody for coming, everyone that's online, everyone that came here tonight. And Mr. Tadlock, you have any other issues?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, loaded question.
No, I don't have any other.
Or anything you need to take care of tonight, I guess is the best way to phrase it.
No, I don't have any other.
All right, any board members have anything? All right. Do we need to close or carry over? If we don't need to carry over, entertain a motion to close.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
Got a second? Any other comment? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against. Ladies, gentlemen, we thank everyone for coming tonight. Look forward to seeing y'all here again. Thank you.